Okay, we are live. All right, so I call this meeting to order at 7:03. Are there any additions or subtractions to the agenda? Phoebe,
Strike TGIF allocation.
Alicia,
Hi, can you please strike the Arts Restoring Community Fund from the agenda?
Daniela,
Hi, can you please strike ASRF allocations and AAC travel mini grant allocations? Thank you.
Josh,
Hi, everybody. Can you please strike the capital contingency funding? Thanks.
Hi, could you please strike the special presentation?
and then one. You said your audio isn't working? I don't think Juan's audio is working, but he said, can you strike SFS applications? And then like SWC programming fund. All right. And then can we, I guess, add a discussion item about I guess the conduct of meetings during the regular school year? All right, and if that's all, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
I second that.
All right, Phoebe motions, Keon seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Giovanna? Okay, well, by a vote of 12-0, the agenda is approved this week. Okay, next is the minutes from last week. Does anyone have any changes that they want to bring up regarding the minutes from last week? Are these new hands?
Mine is a new hand. For the facilities commissioner officer report, I think there's just like a lot of like bullets written under it. If those could just all be like striked, so then you just like click into the document, that'd be nice. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, can we get a motion to approve?
I move to approve last week's minutes.
All right, can we get a second?
I second.
Who's that? Dan? Okay. Eliana motions, Daniela seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right. By a vote of 13-0, the minutes from last week are approved. All right, next we'll move into public comment. So yeah, public comment is a time for individuals to come and kind of, express any questions, comments, or concerns to council. So yeah, please raise your hand if you have anything if you want to be promoted and you want to speak during public comment. All right, going once, going twice. Okay, I'll close public comment at 7:07. All right, so we'll get straight into it. First things up is contingency programming. Josh.
Hi, everybody. So for this week, we had organizations applying for week 0 events, and we had organizations applying for $14,331.88. And we recommend an allocation of $11,813. for 24 non-USAC entity-related events. A little bit of commentary. The only discrepancy between the amount applied and the actual allocation was one of the groups applied for, I think $3,000 for a retreat, which was significantly more than the amount eligible. But besides that, we were able to fill the funding of all groups that applied for week 0 events. And happy to answer any questions or comments about contingency programming for this week. And I'll send this in the chat as well.
Thank you. Keon and Juan, I see you got hands up. Are those new hands or? Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, can we get a motion?
I move to approve the contingency programming.
I second.
Okay, Eliana motions, Theodore seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, by a vote of 13-0, contingency programming is approved. All right, next we have.
I have a quick question. Where can we find which clubs applied for these, or who's getting how much money? Josh?
Sorry about
Hey, Josh,
that. Yeah, so on the email with the agenda, I replied to it with the letter to council, and that has the applications on it with every student group, what they applied for and what we actually recommended. The summary on that page is actually on the council sheet, so the last tab, and it'll have the signatories, the event title, the organization, what specific line item they requested, and then what we actually recommend for allocation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Also,
Yep.
Josh.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious in regards to other organizations that are seeking funding for their who are seeking funding. Is the deadline closed for them?
So for week 0 right now, we're closed up until that weekend of week 0. We're doing it. Normally we need 3 weeks to be able to process everything. But we're going ahead and trying to do it all on 2 weeks. So a little tighter on the window, but we did close it just for week 0. But all student groups, beyond that, we're able to fund and fill. And I think so far I didn't get any emails about groups who were hoping to get funding for week 0 and did not receive it. So I think we're able to fill every single group hoping to apply for week 0.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Okay, so moving forward, Devon is joining the meeting a little late. I guess we'll get into our first appointment. Our first appointment is for the Student Fee Advisory Committee. Has Kevin been promoted yet? Okay, I see a Kevin in here. All right, so just a reminder how this is going to go. So basically, we'll promote the individuals who are going up for a position. They'll give an opening statement. Then we'll open the floor up for questions from council. Then we'll hear ARC's recommendations, and then we'll ask questions. The individual will give their closing statement. Then we'll open it up for ARC's questions. ARC's recommendations, and then we'll do a final vote. All right. So first up is Kevin. You're free to give your opening statement.
Okay, thank you. Sorry if I'm glistening. It's pretty hot in here, and I don't have air conditioning, so I'm trying to do it again right now. All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Carranza. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a rising 4th-year student majoring in economics with a minor in information studies and accounting, and I'm seeking to earn a position as a member of the Student Fee Advisory Committee. As an economics major, I've developed a keen interest in numbers and how to thoughtfully allocate resources. My K through 12 journey sharpened my ability to be resourceful, which falls in line with SFAC's quest of administering student fees in a way that will make the most use out of its finite funds. As a student who has used many of the services that are funded by student fees, I value each and every one of them greatly and understand the impact that they can have on a student's trajectory. When deciding on how to fund different services, it's imperative that those who help decide how funds are distributed by truly understanding the risks and benefits and how these decisions will be felt by students in need of these resources. On a practical note, my experience as a financial director of the Learning and Educational Advancement Project has exposed me to the process of decision-making regarding finances. I hope to use my experience and my desire to become a consultant in the public sector to improve the services our campus provides to a student.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kevin. All right, now we'll open the floor for questions from council members. Please raise your hand if you have a question. Let's get about 2 or 3 questions. All right, okay, yeah, we got Naomi.
Yeah, hi, Kevin. I was just wondering what you think you bring to this role and what makes you the best candidate.
Yeah, so I feel like my economics curriculum emphasizes optimization. So as an econ major, you're trained to deal with scarcity and the lack of resources, which I feel can be useful in SFAC, which its whole responsibility is to determine how to properly allocate fees in a way that will help students best when looking at the entire population for the undergraduate students. I've been a recipient of many departments that require student fee funding, so I value each and every one because I've been a direct beneficiary of these resources. And I have deep experience in team projects, which is something that's going to be critical for SFAC because being part of the committee involves being a member with different people who have different experiences and backgrounds, and that knowledge of how to cohesively work together can be very useful.
Awesome, thank you.
Eliana.
Hi, thanks, Kevin. Great to see you. So I was wondering what your plan is to increase the number of students who are engaged and involved in decisions about financial allocations at UCLA.
Okay, yeah. So one thing I'm a very big proponent of when it comes to student involvement across all types of students that exist on our campus is direct outreach to different communities. So there's no better way to garner a better understanding about what students need than by directly engaging with these different students. And that's also to note that there are students who have very particular circumstances. And for example, particular student groups might not encapsulate these specific nuances within all of the communities that exist in our campus. So hopefully through direct outreach, we like being in the committee can collect the most experiences, like the best recounting of all the experiences that happen on our campus, and then create cohesive measures that'll help everyone in the long run.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Sarah.
Hi, thank you for coming to our USAC meeting. My question is, can you please describe a time like when you have dealt like with a conflict and how you resolve that conflict and how you would use that situation and apply that to your position if chosen for the Student Fee Advisory Committee?
Yeah, I have there's been several instances where I've had disagreements with members of my team on how to tackle a particular project or a certain issue that we're all trying to address. And I feel like something that makes me a very good team member is my ability to be open-minded about things, despite what I've been through or what I think is the most appropriate action. I'm very well aware that there's other students who could have experiences that I did not have, and those experiences can be critical in making sure that we do what's best for everyone. So it's to me, it's diplomacy, making sure that everyone is actually hearing each other and considering greatly what everyone has to say, and then from there making decisions that take everyone's accounts into consideration.
Okay, awesome. Well, if no one else has any more questions, Kevin, you're free to give your closing statement.
Okay. All right. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to interview me. Historically, there's been a lack of students who come from poverty in committee spaces at UCLA, and I wish to change that. If I'm selected to be a committee member of SFAC, I hope to demonstrate that people from all walks of life have the potential to navigate through college and be involved in ways that'll impact our university for the better. Getting to the final round of interviews for this position has been fulfilling, so thank you for considering me.
Awesome, thank you, Kevin. All right, can we hear ARC's recommendation?
Yeah, so ARC recommends Kevin with a 3-0 vote.
All right, does anyone have any question, anything they want to discuss amongst council regarding this appointment? Okay, if not, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Kevin Carranza as on the Student Fee Advisory Committee.
I second.
All right, Sarah motions, 1 second, all in favor. All right, all abstaining, please raise. Oh, there we go. Okay. About 14-0. The motion is approved, and Kevin is now part of the Student Fee Advisory Committee. Congratulations. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. Next we have up is the ASUCLA Communications Board. We have a Cecilia going up for this position. Has Cecilia been promoted?
I'm not sure if I see Cecilia in the waiting room, so maybe we should skip over this appointment for now and then go to the next one if possible.
Okay, yeah, we'll move to the next one. Can someone hit them up and let them know if they're see if they're still available?
I'll do that.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. Next, we'll move to Undergraduate Council. I see Anash has been promoted. You are free to give your statement.
Thank you very much. Everyone, my name is Avinash Ramaswamy. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am a transfer student from Santa Ana College in Orange County. I'll be entering my junior year at UCLA starting this fall. I will be a neuroscience major, and I would like to just start off by talking about why I think that I'd be a good fit for the undergraduate council. I served as the student body president at Santa Ana College, which is, despite being a community college, actually has a student population larger than that of UCLA, one of the larger community colleges in the nation. In that role, I represented Santa Ana College on county, state, and national levels in a discourse trying to enact policies that would really benefit academic as well as the social and well-being of our student population. I really value the voice of students that are particularly coming from underrepresented backgrounds. And at UCLA, I think that the undergraduate council would greatly value the voice of a student like myself who has disabilities, is a transfer student, and wants to advocate on behalf of non-traditional students, particularly those that come from marginalized backgrounds, low socioeconomic backgrounds, transfer students, international students, and other non-traditional students. So with that, I hope that you consider me for this position.
Thank you. All right, we'll open it up for questions. Danielle.
Avinash, so nice to see you. I do have one question, kind of going off of the fact that you've already had extensive experience being in roles of like student body advocacy and such. So my question is, as a senator, how would you go about outreaching into a vast number of students to gain a better understanding of their experiences, their needs, and ultimately to amplify their voices on UGC?
So thank you so much, Danielle. It's nice to see you again. One thing I forgot to mention is I'm also working under Daniela right currently as the director of access and equity in the academic affairs commission. And so in this role, I'm already kind of working to find the needs of students and how we can better amplify student voices. One project that we're currently working on, for example, is a survey project that will help us understand underrepresented students' needs specifically and amplify voices that don't traditionally get heard, particularly on larger levels. And so by kind of utilizing that as well as other innovative ways in which we can make sure we hear student voices, and then making sure that gets relayed and communicated to the undergraduate council is going to be my top priority. And the other way is just through communication, collaboration with not only the other student representatives on the UGC, but also obviously all the student representatives here on USAC to ensure that everything gets communicated that we want to communicate. So that's what it really boils down to, is ensuring open communication.
Juan.
Thank you so much for coming here and taking the time to speak with us. I had a question about your kind of background. Coming from a transfer, as a transfer student and coming from a background of already student advocacy and representation, I wanted to know how, what skills do you think are going to be best transferred into this unique role as student representative in the ASUCLA Board of Directors?
Yeah, so one of the roles of being a student body president is you're oftentimes in a room where most of the people in the room aren't students. They're like administration, faculty, because you're the representative of students. So as much as you'd like to be in a room full of other students, more often than not, the meetings I was in was me kind of back against the wall, presenting to board of trustees and all sorts of administrators. And that's kind of the way the setup of the undergraduate council is. There are the 4 undergraduate representatives, the 2 graduate students, but all the others are faculty, administrators. And so it's about ensuring that our small voice is the biggest voice in the room, because it's about how do we make sure that they remember at the end of the day what they're doing is in service of students. And so that's an experience that I've had extensively serving as the student body president at Santa Ana College, and something I think will definitely carry over in terms of just making sure that the numbers don't intimidate me from making sure that the voice is heard. Thank you.
Sarah.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to our meeting. Your resume and just your goals were very impressive. My question was just what particular, because you're an incoming transfer, what particular knowledge about UCLA do you think that will help you with this role? And in some places where you don't necessarily know everything, how do you plan on getting to know how UCLA operates quickly?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Sarah. In terms of my existing knowledge of UCLA, first and foremost, I think my work and my experience through the Academic Affairs Commission will definitely help me get a jump start in terms of my understanding of the operations. The other thing is, I have been taking summer session classes, and over the time I've been doing my best to kind of get an understanding of student life as best as possible. I've just been not interviewing, but kind of just talking to students, getting a feel for, things that go on. And the other thing is, the reason why I feel that, I'd be a good fit is the fact that I don't I don't fully know the processes that are existing and when it comes to the internal politics of USAC and the undergraduate council, because I am a strong advocate of diversity of thought and experience when it comes to, policy. You don't want everyone thinking the exact same way, having the exact same experiences, because you can create a system where you're just, reinforcing the same, systems within, any sort of institution. And by having someone coming in from the outside that has relevant experience, but not necessarily has been brought up through, through USAC and through the exact way in which UCLA has, can give a good kind of balance, in comparison to those that have probably been, let's say have already been at UCLA for 2-3 years. It's a good way to have to promote, a healthy challenge in terms of, a student that could, come in from the outside and give a fresh perspective on things. Also, kind of keeping everyone honest, keeping each other honest, and a good give back and, kind of give and take. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. You're free to give your closing statement.
Yeah. So I, grew up kind of, no one really thought that I'd ever be in a position where I'd, even be at UCLA, let alone had served as a student government president. When I was in high school, I had a 0.7 GPA. I was a high school dropout, actually. I, struggled with, health problems and, disabilities. And, my life has kind of been filled with, being overlooked. And I know that a lot of students struggle with that. And a lot of people in life struggle with that. And so my priority is always going to be, my number one priority is always going to be ensuring that no student is overlooked and their needs are overlooked. And I think that that's the key thing that I bring. I think everyone brings something different to the table. And the way that, you best operate is, highlighting the strengths of each person in order to, create, a really great system of people that can be representatives. And so I really hope that I can represent students in a way that is unique, but also representing a large population of students that, have unique needs that I can relate to, and even needs that I don't necessarily relate to, I can certainly be an advocate for. So with that, I thank you so much for your time. And just thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I think my connection is a little stable. Everyone, can y'all hear me? Everyone good? Okay, awesome. All right, thank you. All right. We'll go into ARC's recommendation.
Yeah, so ARC approved Avinash by a 3-0 vote.
Awesome. Okay. Then we'll open up discussion for council. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? Yeah.
Yes, I just want to say that I fully support his appointment to this position. I am an alum. I am a student who transferred from Santa Ana College, who did, I know, go Dons, who did sit actually on the student government. I didn't serve as president, but I did serve as vice president. So I did serve on the executive and legislative branches of the student government. And so I am very well, even though his experience was probably during COVID, I'm very well confident that he has the capabilities and he has experience to serve a student body. He's correct that Santa Ana College is one of the largest community colleges. I believe it's about 21,000 or 22,000 in student body, if not bigger. And so he definitely has experience working with a larger student body. And in regards to getting to know UCLA, his struggle is going to be a similar struggle as any transfer student. So he can only, from here, he can only grow. So I'm confident that he will adapt to UCLA's culture, adapt to UCLA's institutions and hierarchy. So I'm very confident in his abilities, and I think he just deserves this opportunity, and I think he could truly serve the student body. So I hope you guys are also as supportive for him as I. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, can we get a motion?
I move to approve. You go ahead. Matt?
Wait.
Okay, I move to approve Avinash for the undergraduate council.
I second.
Okay, one motions, Theodore seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, we got 13, 14. All right, by a vote of 14 and 0-0, Avinash is approved to serve as part of the undergraduate council. So congratulations. Okay, awesome. Moving forward. Now we'll move to the Committee on Research. Has Fiona been promoted? Okay, yeah, I see Fiona has been promoted. Fiona, you are free to give your opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is Fiona and my major is economics. My pronouns is she and hers. So this is my second year I'm a second year transfer student, and I'm also an international student. So the reason I want to join committee on research is because currently I'm doing research for postdoc at like School of Management of UCLA, as well as I'm doing individual research on women inequality and wage gap in the U.S. And my faculty mentor is Professor Chris Servo, and I really want to advocate for the undergrad students who didn't have opportunity to do research before, because before coming to the United States, I have never have any experience doing research, and I didn't get much opportunity to do research in community college because I'm an international student. And coming to UCLA, I didn't find a lot of opportunity for transfer students and international students on doing research as well. So joining the committee on research, I hope I can advocate for the minority students and the students who are underrepresented. And I hope I can provide a lot of resources and opportunities for them and help them to get into the field of research.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay. All right. Now we'll open the floor up for questions from council members. Devon, I seen you had a hand raised. Is that an old one?
Sorry, that's an old hand. I'm technically unstable right now.
Okay, no problem. Daniela?
Hi, Fiona. So kind of going off of what you just said in regards to your interest in expanding access to research opportunities, would you be able to elaborate more on your plan of action in order to do that and make sure that that accessibility is expanded to other undergrads?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your question. So actually right now I'm currently receiving an award from the undergrad humanity research department. So as I mentioned before, my faculty member is from one of the professor from the economics department. So actually as a student from the economic department, I found it's very difficult to find faculty mentor or like other professors to help you doing research or giving you like a research assistant opportunity. So I hope I can join by joining the research on committee, I can extend the opportunities, making more connections with the professor in different departments. I hope they can offer more opportunities to the undergrad students, because from my experience, they only offer research assistant positions to the grad students or PhD students, and they are not that they didn't look for like many undergrad students to be like a research assistant or like working in the lab or provide more opportunities for them. So I hope I can like connecting to more professors in different departments and encourage them to provide more opportunities to the undergrad students. And I hope UCI can provide more fundings to the professors who are like giving more opportunity to the undergrad students, and maybe they can give undergrad students some stipends to work on their research or working on in the labs. So I think that would be the first goal I want to work on. I hope I can like connect to different departments and providing more research programs for undergrad students.
Awesome. Eliana?
Thank you so much, Fiona. I love what you're saying. So there's been issues for some of the students who are at high risk from COVID in terms of labs, because there's often no matter what, you might go to the Center for Accessible Education and be certified as needing accommodation. There's often no accommodations for labs in terms of either virtual or even having, I don't know, maybe having it when there aren't other people around so you won't get COVID, but people are just like, well, it's a lab, but we'll change the class so we don't have to accommodate you. It makes it hard for people to get do research and get their degrees. And so do you think you could try and advocate for changes in that area?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Definitely. Actually, I was working in the lab for communication department during the COVID-19, and I have to be there in person, even though like it's like during the COVID-19 and pandemics. I think it was like 2021 summer, and actually I think their policy was pretty good, but I kind of going to I need to be there in person every week, but during the research time I do research over there, it's only me in the lab. So they're kind of avoiding like interacting with other people in the lab. So to avoid like to protecting students. And as you mentioned it, right now we kind of removing the restrictions, and we are not requiring students to wear face masks anymore in the lab. But I think it's still very important to tell other like directors in the lab or faculty members who are doing research in the labs to tell students. I think the priority would be like the safety of the students, of course, even though like they might be doing the lab that require in person, but I think the safety of students would be priority. I think in like establishing some policy like only like one person going into the lab in a certain time of periods would be pretty good in order to protect student safety, so they can have the in-person lab experience, and also like kind of avoiding to the exposure of the COVID.
That is excellent. Thank you so much.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, if not, Fiona, you're free to give your closing statement.
First of all, thank you for all the questions. And I think my closing statement would be the reason I want to join this committee is because I'm coming from the underrepresented group of students. And before I didn't get much opportunity in doing research. But right now, I just came to the US for like 3 years, and I received a lot of opportunity in doing research. And in UCI, I hope to develop more opportunities and fundings, as well as other resources for students who are coming from minority group. And not only in UCI, I want to like extend the opportunity to like connecting to other universities or other labs in like other universities, because currently I'm working for Stanford University as a research assistant. I hope I can make a connection with other like for Ivy League or like other like top research universities, and providing more opportunities to the undergrad students at UCLA so they can receive more experience, as well as they can explore like their area of interest in research. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Fiona. Can we hear ARC's recommendation?
So ARC approved Fiona by a 3-0 vote.
Okay, I open up the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns regarding Fiona. Okay, if not, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Fiona for the Committee on Research.
I second.
Second.
Okay, Eliana motions, Theodore seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all abstaining, please raise your hand. Okay, all against, raise your hand. All right, I only seen 13 votes for that one. We got 14 council members present. All right, so we'll just, okay, and I see it now.
Did you want
All
to
right.
vote?
Yeah, she just voted. All right, by a vote of 14-0, the motion is approved and Fiona is now on the committee on research. Congratulations. Thank you for coming. Okay, next, we have the appointment for the Committee on Undergraduate Admissions and Relations with Schools. Has Yasmin been promoted? Yes, I see Yasmin has been promoted. Okay, you're free to give open a statement.
All right, Kim, am I being heard just because your audio was, or the audio on my end was going in and out? Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, well, my name is Yasmin. I go by Yash. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a rising senior and a second-year transfer. And I'm going to be a senator for FARS, the Committee for Undergrad Admissions and Relations with Schools. And I believe I'm a great fit for this position due to my continued interest in advocacy and equity and just focusing on traditionally underserved and students from underrepresented backgrounds. So by definition, FARS establishes the holistic review parameters for selecting UCLA students from the larger pool. Those are UC eligible. Now, what the definition doesn't include is that the pool also encompasses transfer students, first-gen students, parenting students, and so many more identities which need to be accounted for. And I'm very passionate about those conversations around admissions and relations with schools and just being cognizant of like the needs in school that exist outside of LA County and more focus on schools from low-income neighborhoods and to just ensure that we truly are establishing a holistic approach. And I think there's so much work that needs to be done from improved cultural competency, as we saw with the pros ethics component, to just increase overall inclusivity. And I believe that QUARS is the perfect place for that. And yeah, I just wanted to thank y'all for giving me the space to share that. And I hope I didn't cut out. Sorry, we had a power outage. I'm zooming from home due to the heat, so I hope that I stayed put for my 1 minute.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You did great. Now we'll open the floor for questions. Eliana.
Thank you, Yasmin. Very great statement. So I was wondering, I feel like a lot of the time, unlike what we see within the student body, where there's been a lot of movement on disability advocacy, both from disabled students and all communities, there's in the admissions conversation, one doesn't seem to hear much in terms of disability and trying to outreach, support people, take into account whatever challenges they might have had. So I was wondering if there was any like outreach programs or something with confidentiality, because not everyone wants to put that on their application, but wondering if you think you could try and get some of that going within the Committee on Admissions and Relations with Schools.
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry, Ilyana. I know that was a long question. I'm not sure if you have it typed somewhere and if I may get it pasted or even like a shortened version of it.
Yeah, my bad. Let me type that out now.
right, I'm so sorry. My audio, again, it's going in and out. It can be like a lot shorter than what you said because I got the gist of it, but just so I have some things to look at. But I guess while you're typing that, just so we're all not waiting around, I can definitely get started. So I think the number one thing that we can do is have those increased conversations for increased disability access. Just gonna take a look at the question. Okay, perfect. So I know last year a really great friend of mine was that was kind of what she focused on last year. So, and I remember just kind of having those conversations with her just to kind of know where I can get started. But I think when it comes to specifically like increasing outreach programs for high school and community college students with those disabilities, when I was a senator at my community college, we did a lot of conferencing around California just because there are so many community colleges in California. Like I said, I'm a transfer. And one of the things that the group of senators that I was in from my school and other panelists from around the state advocated for was to ensure that all buildings at community colleges have disability acts like ramps that provide disability access to that student population in specific. And I remember it was such a great opportunity. I got to like go to Sacramento and we got to kind of lobby for this and just advocate because my community college specifically didn't have a disability access ramp for our math and science building. And I think it was very crazy to kind of see the trajectory of how, you know, we gathered a group, we wrote up a resolution and then kind of presented it at the state capitol. So I think that was in the past, that's been one way that I've kind of been able to just, I guess, increase disability access. But I think moving forward through my work in QARS, if appointed, I think just having conversations with those who are more well-informed, because I will not lie, this is one of the things that I want to increase awareness about and bring attention to, but it's not specifically what I've focused on. But I think the best that I can do as a student on this committee is have those conversations and make sure that we're all collaboratively working towards increased access and just outreach for, I guess, outreach and access for income high school students and community college students, if that makes sense. I hope I answered your question.
Awesome. That was very, very good. Super excited. Well done.
All right.
Daniela.
Hi, Yash. It's nice to see you again. I'm just wondering, how will you bring your background, your own intersectionality, and knowledge of the transfer student experience into QARS this year? And I can also put it in the chat.
All right, thank you. All right, yeah. So I think being a transfer student is just like one of many identities that I resonate with, which is why I didn't want to be a specific transfer appointee this year. So this upcoming year, since we're on the topic of intersectionality and just kind of like that cross point between, I guess, myself and admin and students, I'm starting something new this year, which is working with our Shen office and specifically focusing on outreach to like high school and community college students from high schools and community colleges. So I think that's, given my background in advocacy and just the upcoming, like this new kind of project that I'm working on, I think I'll be able to kind of like serve as a bridge between the two. And this is obviously specific to me because I am going to be really involved in both offices hopefully this year. But I think given my background last year serving on UGC, I found that a lot of the advocacy that I wanted to do, I didn't want to be restricted, like I said, to just being a transfer student and advocating on behalf of being a transfer. Because over the past year, I realized that I want to advocate more for like other identities that I resonate with, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think just the experience of being at UCLA and just seeing how things kind of work at a school this big. Again, I came from a community college, which is a lot different, and being a senator at a community college is a lot different than kind of the privilege that you have getting to be in the spaces that you can be at UCLA. Yeah, so I think just incorporating what I've learned but more so what I'm going to be doing this year and just working towards, like I said, serving as a bridge between the two. Yeah.
One.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to speak with us. I want to build a little bit more on your first response to Eliana's question. My question, I typed it in the chat, is how do you see your role with learning with and partnering with existing orgs like mother orgs who have long-standing access and outreach retention activities?
Yeah, perfect. So like I said, so the nature of CORS is relations with schools and admissions and whatnot. I think something that I've going in, some initiatives that I would want to take is increased outreach to community college students, since like I said, I am a transfer student, and specifically those who come from colleges in low-income neighborhoods, for example. So when I first came to UCLA, I lived in the transfer housing, the transfer LLC, and I think nearly everyone that I spoke to came from either Santa Monica College or Pasadena City College, which are located into the most influential neighborhoods in California, I want to say. So I noticed that immediately there's a lot of increased outreach to those schools through various, and I would say many different programs that they have with these schools. So when it comes to like learning and partnering with existing orgs, I know there's, so for all, take like Stomp at UCLA, for example. So I know my community college didn't really do much like marketing and advertisement for this program that exists. I personally didn't know that it existed. It almost seemed very dismissive compared to, like I said, hearing other students' experiences, like straight up right off the bat going into CC, they kind of, were made well aware of all the different programs and resources they have. But coming from a community college, that was not Pasadena City College or Santa Monica College, I feel like we weren't really on a level playing field, if that makes sense. So when it comes to existing orgs, I think just emphasizing that while the work shouldn't be stopped that is currently being done with these partner colleges, I think it definitely expands to, like I said, those who come from like those colleges that are in low-income neighborhoods. And yeah, just so like Stomp at UCLA would be one. I look forward to learning a lot more. The first to go office is, since it's such a new office, I have a lot of flexibility in creating my own programs. So maybe we can do some collaboration there in which we can work towards increasing outreach, if that makes sense. But there's no set program in the first to go office yet. That's also what I like. I can study other programs that have worked and what hasn't, and very flexible to create my own. So when it comes to existing orgs, I think that's one way that I will partner with them and just work towards that.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, I just had a question too. I just wanted to ask, especially regarding the demographics aspect of this, especially for undergraduate admissions. I just wanted to ask, what is your current knowledge of like demographics on campus? And do you see any ways that can be, do you have any specific plans on ways that can be improved at all? And it's fine if you don't, but I was just curious.
Yeah, no worries. Are we talking like, I think demographics is very broad. Are we like, is this pertinent to a specific demographic, or are we just talking about like different like marginalized groups, if you will?
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, we can talk about like marginalized groups. Just like in regards to like race and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, perfect. So it's funny that you bring this up. So I actually went and did some work with the professional office today, and one of the initiatives that were brought up today is how male Latinos are one of those demographics. If are members of one of those demographics. Sorry, I know my word is a bit choppy. And so pertinent to like male Latina students, what we want to kind of also working with outreach. But like I said, since it's such a new program, there's not that much flexibility. There's a lot of flexibility in how we want to approach that. And I just forget what your question was, but would you mind repeating it?
Yeah, so basically what I was asking is like, what is your current knowledge of like, I guess, race demographics on campus? And, do you see any room for like improvement, or, do you have any plans to like, change that, like, maybe, reach out to a certain certain demographic that's, lacking on campus, or, something like that? If not, that's fine. I know that there's a lot of groups on campus that have been working on this for years. So, yeah, that's kind of my question. I hope does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. When it comes to being aware, I'm focusing on the male Latino one just because it's so fresh in mind, and we did discuss it today. But I guess when it comes to a plan, I wouldn't say I alone have one solid plan, if that makes sense. but I definitely think like it all does come down to outreach. And I know I keep saying outreach a lot, but like I said, I was personally affected by the lack of it. And I think QARS, which is why QARS is the perfect place to kind of acknowledge those marginalized groups and, you know, have a change in those demographics at UCLA through like work in QARS as well as my other organizations on campus, which is why I think the collaboration is very like crucial.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. You can give your closing statement now.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, you're free to give your closing statement.
So like, was I asked to make closing statement? I apologize. Got it. All right. Well, I just want to say thank you to the council for being here today, and like I said, giving me the time and space to kind of share what I had to say about QARS and wanting to join the Academic Senate. I believe I've always been passionate about the Academic Senate and the inner workings of student government, having joined as soon as I started attending community college. I believe my last year, I think, was a big learning experience for me. I served on UGC, and I feel like I wasn't able to perform to the best of my ability due to a long list of personal reasons, and also what I feel was the lack of proper training. But you know, I don't think that deterred me at all. I think I'm still just as passionate. And like I said, it was a very eye-opening experience at an institution this huge. And I think if I had the opportunity again, my role as a senator under QARS, conjointly with other advocacy work that I do, will allow me to serve as the registration students, faculty, admin, and more due to my loud presence in these spaces. And I guess having the privilege of having my voice heard. And I would really enjoy an opportunity to get loud and angry, like I said, in these spaces and just challenge traditional guidelines, which tend to be restrictive on marginalized communities. And yeah, I think that's all. And once again, thank you again for hearing me out and allowing me the space to share this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Ark, can we hear your
Oh yeah. So ARC approved Yash by a 3-0 vote.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now we'll open the floor up for discussion amongst council members. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? Naomi?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I really think she's very well suited for this role. Definitely throughout the interview process, even now with the questions that were asked, she has demonstrated such a great passion for this role and definitely has the experience, and I think has the most like definite presence and voice to use in this role. So yeah, I just wanted to say 100% support it.
Daniela?
Yeah, I also just would like to take a minute to second that. Last year I served on QARS as a senator myself, and Yashmin served on UGC that same year. And she went above and beyond to support me on an initiative that QARS was working on to promote more transfer student inclusivity and visibility on that committee, which again, she was not a part of and she didn't have to do that, but she did. And so I think that she is definitely a really like key player in a lot of the advocacy that QARS wants to do, and she definitely has demonstrated the tenacity to do it.
One.
Yeah, I want to triple that. I really loved looking over, your resume and your interview notes, as well as listening to hear speak live. I think all of your responses were very grounded, and I really appreciate that you took the opportunity to apply and that we're considering you for this position. I'm so excited.
Awesome. And if that's it, can we get a motion?
Move to approve Yash for Committee on Admissions and Relations to Schools.
I second Divine.
Okay, Eliana motions, Devon seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, we got 11, 12. All right, going, okay, 13. Going once, going twice. 14. All right, by a vote of 14-0, the motion is passed, and Yashmin is now on the Committee on Undergraduate Admissions and Relations with Schools. Congratulations. All right, now moving forward, next up, we have the appointment for the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I see Ariana has been promoted. You are free to give your opening statement.
Yes, thank you. Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. All right, hi everybody. My name is Ariana Amen. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently entering my 4th year of college, but 2nd year at UCLA as a transfer. I'm a political science major, and my concentration is race, ethnicity, and politics. I'm applying to be a senator, part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. There are many reasons why I believe I'm a great candidate for this position. The first reason is because of my experiences as a senator at my previous college. My passion for student advocacy ended up growing so strong that I ended up running and winning the candidacy for student body vice president of the college. Through handling student tribulations, balancing the student senate and trying to keep the campus strong during the pandemic, I was able to gain an incredible amount of insight on student government relations and policy reform. I ended up expanding my duties even further, and I gained the position as a delegate for the Student Senate of California Community Colleges. The experiences that I gained through these positions can allow for a smooth transition into the Undergraduate Students Association. Another reason why I feel like I'm best fit for the committee is my personal cultural background. As an Afghan American woman, I believe that I can share a deep empathy and bring forth a perspective that stems from understanding the struggles of those who deserve equity and inclusion on our campus. I am able to offer my own personal hardships as a reason why I try my best to amplify the voices of those who aren't heard. And I believe that I'm incredibly level-headed, and I understand the importance of working together as a team to provide the best possible outcomes for the committee. And that concludes my opening statement.
Awesome, thank you. All right, now we'll open it up for questions. Theodore, I see you had a hand up for a while. Is that an old hand?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Daniela?
Yes. Hi, Ariana. Also apologize if there's any background noise. But as a senator, what steps will you take to engage with the various student organizations that we have on campus to bring about diversity and inclusivity on Senate?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time? I have like a really loud fan on.
Yeah, I can also put it in the chat if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so I feel like as a senator, I have, a lot of experience working with various clubs and organizations. As a former vice president of a student senate, I understand the importance of making sure that everybody's in on what's going on. So specifically focusing on diversity and inclusivity, I feel like a very important attribute in that is making sure that there are diverse referrals, maybe even like blind screening of resumes or holding diverse interviews, or even like the panels for the candidates that are, trying to be a part of different clubs and organizations, and just making sure that we can all hold each other accountable to make sure that diversity and inclusion is a priority for different organizations on campus. I know with my own personal experiences, I feel like understanding that we need to, take into consideration various circumstances. And yeah, I think those are ways that, little ways that we can contribute towards organizations on campus.
Eliana?
So I put my question in the chat because all this the noise issues, but how do you define diversity and inclusion?
Let me just turn my camera on. Okay. I personally define diversity and inclusion as, for one, I feel like equity is based off of, it's not equality, it's equity. So it's all of our circumstances that are being taken into consideration, because we all come from different status, and we're all different genders, and there's different disabilities, and there's so much to take into consideration. We're all so different in that way. So in my own personal, definition, I feel like it's taking that into consideration. It's a melting pot, and it's staying open-minded. It's a lot, honestly. But yeah, I think that's a good way to define it, in my opinion.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Alicia?
Yes, I will put it in the chat, but how will you be concerned with what the inclusion of underrepresented students in this organization and the committee really means, given how DEI initiatives are seen through trends to be used to be taken advantage of people of color or people in marginalized groups, even to tokenize? And how will you work to understand the barriers to ethnic/racial marginalized and minoritized students who form a part of our campus and those outside?
Yeah, I feel like being part of this committee, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna reread the question one more time. Inclusion. Yeah, so I feel like my personal background, being an African American woman, I feel like that already adds so much weight when it comes to understanding marginalized groups. And I feel like it's a direct link. You don't really need to try really hard to try to relate, because it's so innate for you, and it's something that's a secondhand nature. I feel like understanding those barriers is already something that is, it's second nature, like I said. So I think communication with other students and making sure that you are creating these personal relationships with the other students on campus and those who come forth and those that are also in the committee, and making sure the communication is always continuous is a great way to break those barriers and a great way for us to understand each other. I know for me, I can definitely contest to the fact that when you are part of a marginalized group and when those barriers do exist, it's really easy to kind of fall behind and not be heard. And I think being in these sort of committees, listening to one another and making sure those boxes are all checked off can definitely contribute to lessening the barriers. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, next we got up is Juan.
Thank you so much for coming to speak with us. I wanted to, this is a more, and this is a question that's trying to attempt to get to your theory of change. And because I just personally am, everything you've said really resonates and hits home. So I would love to give you the platform to address this a little bit further. So EDI initiatives have been, in institutions like UCLA, have been historically used as a way to kind of like make inclusion, diversity, and equity like a finite goal, like something that can be achieved. How do you think we should move to making EDI initiatives more sustainable and long-term to change how we do things, not what we do?
I think that a very huge way that we can make sure that these things are deep rooted in the way that we do things. I think there's a lot of levels to like this answer because for one, I feel like students on campus who deserve, well, we all do, but diversity, equity, and inclusion, all of these things are what I feel like we should aim and strive for on campus on a day-to-day basis. And I feel like making sure that these sort of changes are kind of like just basically, how do I put this? It's just as we, sorry, I'm just trying to find it's a lot. So I think for me personally, when I think about bringing forth these changes on campus, it's very like, I guess for me personally, when I first came to campus, it was a culture shock for me. I wasn't used to, everything that UCLA had to offer. I came from a very small community college, and our issues with diversity and inclusion was not as, as big as I have experienced at UCLA. And I feel like that's what inspired me to choose this committee specifically. And I think that a huge part of making sure that these sort of things stick is making sure that those who are behind, everything that's going on, for example, these committees and the people who are on these committees, I feel like we should be focused on working hand in hand with students who require our help and require change and need. So yeah, that's kind of where I come from. I really do feel like there should be a very more personalized and intimate experience when it comes to, implementing these changes and making sure they stick. I think it should be less logical and more, one-on-one.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, very, very important position. So thank you. Thank you for sticking with us with the tough questions. All right, we'll close the questions now, and you can give your closing statement.
Yeah. So I wanted to start off by thanking you guys for this opportunity. As a former decision maker for a student association, I understand the pressure and importance of choosing the right people for your organization. So if I were to be chosen to move forward in this process, I can assure that there's going to be at least one guaranteed member of the team that genuinely cares about the greater good of the people on our campus. The reason why I'm always trying to include myself in student government activities is because I try to find any way I can to contribute or to help or to be involved in any way that's greater than just me. As an older sister to two younger siblings, and I feel like I'm kind of just like the glue that basically holds my family together. I've stepped up to leadership positions my entire life, and I believe that my ability to quickly acclimate to my surroundings and think fast on my feet and consistently remain unbiased are all reasons why this position would be great for me. And I can see myself in others, and I understand the greater impact of all of my decisions if given this opportunity. So as a former senator, student ambassador, delegate, and student body vice president, I would be honored to continue my passions at UCLA and give back to a new community.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, ARC, can we hear your recommendation?
Yeah, so ARC approved Ariana by a 3-0 vote.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll open the floor for discussion amongst council members. Any questions, concerns, or comments regarding this appointment? Going once, going twice. Okay. Can we get a motion?
I move to enthusiastically appoint Ariana to the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
I second.
Okay, one motions, Naomi seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, we got 13 so far. All right, okay. Yeah, yep. And by a vote of 14 to 0, the motion is approved. And Ariana is now on the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming. All right. Is there any update on Cecilia?
Yeah, I just heard
able to
from
make
her.
it?
She has COVID. Would you mind rescheduling her for 2 weeks from now?
Oh yeah, we can reschedule.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Tell her-
it. Hope she's
tell her
feeling better.
hope she gets better. All right. These next appointments are just I think they're just consent items. Correct? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, they're
Pretty
just
sure.
consent items. So I think you all should
Okay.
have questions. And then if anyone has any concerns, then we can talk about it.
Yeah. All right, so twice. I see Devon. I think that's the old hand, right, Devon?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. And okay, so boom, they're approved. And then next is the drug-free schools committee. We got Kavya. See me. All right, there we go. I got kicked out for a little bit, I guess. All right. Any questions, concerns, or comments regarding Kavya? Okay. Awesome. All right, we'll be moving forward then. And we're done with appointments. All right. Thank you everyone for sitting through that. Okay, so now we'll get into officer reports. Yeah, Naomi say, woo, yes. All right, let me see. Trying to make sure I'm bringing out what I've been doing. Okay, so for me, the last 2 weeks, been in communications with Serve LA to partner to do a video with the USC president. I met with like a speechwriter at UCLA regarding like the new admits event on September 18th. I have to give a speech before the new admits. So I'm working on that. Met with Bob Michaels again about the president's reunion. I established connections with the Mardi Gras like alumni board for planning regarding the UCLA Mardi Gras, which my office is attempting to bring back like this spring. Met with the SWC regarding the sponsoring a peer support group. Then had follow-up meetings with the Gen Rep 1 and Financial Supports Commissioner, and then had a meeting with my directors and cabinet members regarding office updates and upcoming general staff hiring. So that's all I have. And next, IVP.
Yeah, so with regards to like ARC, we interviewed and like communicated with the appointees that were here this week. Shout out to ARC again for being so on top of all of the interviews. We're currently in need of appointees for the Campus Programs Committee, Communities Activities Committee, and also J Board, from what Carl has emailed me. So if any students are interested, please encourage them to apply. Oh yes, Carl, is there?
No, you can finish. I can ask this question after you're finished.
Okay, sounds good. And then once again, like I say this every council meeting, but if you have individual office appointments, please send them over to me along with their names, UID, and application, so that we can email them with like the ARC interview information and interview them for council. With regards to my office, we had an executive staff meeting where I met with my executive staff to discuss the resources for office that we need and organizing like the meeting logistics for fall quarter. We also had our last directors meeting for the summer to close off the summer yesterday to discuss logistics for fall and also like check in with them and see if they had any updates. I also had a meeting with our sole advisor who changed from Chris to Aaron to discuss funding and resources for our office. I met with my education accessibility committee because they are working with the Spark campaign to kind of rebuild and reimagine the rent relief awards for the IVP Spark campaign. I also connected my student involvement directors to Giovanna because they were interested in helping with the EAF. So hopefully they're communicating with you all and they can be a part of it. We also launched our staff spotlights today, which my marketing team has been working really, really hard on. So please check that out on the IVP Instagram to see our lovely staff. We're planning to relaunch general staff apps this week, and then our internship directors have finished the internship staff application, which will launch week 0 after our general staff applications close. But that's all for me. I don't know if Carl, you want to ask your question or should we move?
Yeah, no, yeah, I just wanted to bring your point up about the J board appointments are very important. The Chief Justice reached out to me. They currently don't have enough members to like make quorum. So like if we have anything that comes up where they're needed, we're not gonna be able to use them because they don't have enough people to make quorum. So I would
How many
say
justices do we need?
Appointments are, you said what?
How many associate justices do we need to appoint? Do you know?
Yeah, we need like 2. So yeah, appointment search committee, like if y'all could kind of like maybe make a graphic like, hey, if you're interested in like law or interested, just make it a little bit more specific so we can get those individuals. That's like something we need.
I'll provide updates on that during my officer report.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, EVP.
Hi, folks. Let me know if I'm breaking up. I also do not have power in my apartment, so it's been a struggle. But so far, our team has been planning the UCSA board meeting. It's this weekend. If you are in Westwood and would like to attend, please let me know. There is space for public comment, and we would obviously love to hear some UCSA voices on the issues. My state and federal directors have been doing a lot of lobbying meetings with certain legislators. Bruinsville has been meeting weekly to discuss its upcoming elections and voter turnout for students. We had a joint meeting with Anna and the Planned Parenthood rep, and we'll be furthering that. We met with North Westwood Neighborhood Council rep and some folks from the local government community relations office at UCLA to talk about local advocacy and things that we'll be focusing on for our local director. And today I met with Fernando to discuss account information, and that's what we've been doing.
Awesome. All right, Gen Rep 3.
Thanks. So I'm working with Divine on a big advocacy thing involving bringing students up to the state legislature to talk about the local conditions on campus and what we might want to see from future appointed regents and in terms of funding, in terms of making sure there's accountability for some incidents of discriminatory and corrupt behavior by a few people on campus, all that sort of thing. Thank you, Divine. You're awesome. And I was also repping USAC at the Academic Advancement Program's Cultural Treasures Nights. Thank you, Juan, for getting me a table. And thank you to the Academic Advancement Program, the peer counselors, and the freshman and transfer summer program students, and the performers, Divine Nine, African Students Union, the Latino Fraternity and Sorority, MECHA. Y'all were awesome. That was cool. And there anything else these past? Those, I think those were the main things these past. My nutrition director, Cecilia and Reva, are working on some new programming. So that should be great. Gonna be some cool stuff coming up in terms of like cooking videos and food distribution. Should be cool this fall. And that's it. Thank you to everyone who've been making all this stuff happen.
Thank you. All right.
So for the first quick little update, tomorrow we're going to be launching the social media post targeting the remaining open seats for appointments. So please be on the lookout for that post and repost it and share. So this is both for council members to repost on your social media accounts and for anyone else listening to please either apply or repost. So that's the one quick update from ASC. The next update for CSC, we're actively searching for committee members to get ready for SFS allocations for the SFS review committee. And we're also preparing our planning work for events happening over the fall. We're excited because we're building a lot of collaboration with different organizations on campus, and we're getting ready to do our fall training soon. So lots of moving parts. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Financial Supports Commissioner.
This week in my office, I have been working with admin for funding for Blue Book. So I'm also having a meeting tomorrow with Danny to talk about that. Also I'm just conducting interviews for the CRC rep and just meeting with my team regularly to talk about initiatives for the year.
Awesome, thank you. Transfer student rep.
Hi there, how's it going, everyone? A couple updates. I was able to gain access to my office, so and as I'm figuring out my fall schedule, I'm gonna be finalizing my office hours for the student body to get a hold of me in person. So I'm excited to really be there for individuals on campus when school starts and to have a consistent office hour. Whether it's anyone on this board or anyone on campus, I welcome. I'll be welcoming of all individuals, of course. Some updates from what's happening in regards to Transfer Life. We do have a Transfer Palooza going on this coming month on September 20th from 4 to 6. So I'll be there. I'll be joining the TSC. It's just 4 day of games, food, live music, and art, and resources. So if you know any transfer students, just send them their way. It's going to be on campus at the Transfer Student Center at Kirkhoff, of course. I am as well working to put together my office. And so if you have any qualified individuals who you think would best serve the transfer student population, please let me know. And as we could hopefully have formal, so I could formally make contact with them. Other than that, I'm just excited for this coming school year.
Awesome, thank you. All right, and now I'm moving into admin reps. Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Just one update or reminder, I should say, is re-registration for returning groups started this week, and they will run through Friday of the second week of the quarter. Also, new groups that want to form, that will begin week 0. And also, as a reminder, there is a new requirement for re-registration. At least one signatory must attend a list of workshops that SOL is providing for the fall quarter. But other than that, I don't have any more updates.
Awesome. Next we have Jessica.
Hi all. No updates tonight. I'm still catching up on emails from when I was out last week. So if you sent me an email and I haven't responded yet, you should hear from me shortly. Otherwise, feel free to just re-forward it to my inbox so I can respond. And then I'll also be sending out an email to you all probably tomorrow to connect you with Linda, who is our new student government accounting manager. She just started on Monday, so she's on board and ready to help y'all out with any SGA finance questions you have. So I'll send her email around to the all council email, so this way you have it, and you feel free to reach out if you want to get a meeting set up to dig a little bit deeper into your budgets. She can help with more of like the technical questions if you have any. So yeah, I'll probably send that out tomorrow during business hours, so this way if you want to reach out to her, she should be available. But that's it for me.
Thank you. Theodore, you had a question?
Yeah. What about prior emails in 1 week? Because I know perhaps there's probably something wrong between our communication, but at first I didn't think much of it because I was replying to a general email, but I think I tried reaching out to you and I started a new line of emails, and I think maybe for some reason, maybe you're not receiving them. I know I gave you that one call on the phone once, and so probably for now, it's probably our best line of contact, but I just want to know, have you received any of my emails?
Yeah, so I know you had emailed me a couple questions about hiring paperwork and your office access, but since we spoke on the phone, I didn't end up replying to your email, but that's the only one I've seen so far. But I had an out of office response on my email all of last week, so I haven't received anything probably since last like 2 Fridays ago would have been the last I was connected to my email. So if you have something outstanding that you need to connect with me on, definitely feel free to just re-forward it. And I can also type in to the chat again my cell phone number. That's the best phone number to reach me at, because I'm not always in the office or at my desk. So if you prefer a phone call, that's fine too, and you can reach me on my cell phone.
Thank you so much. I was just making sure it wasn't anything on my side.
Yeah, for sure.
In general. Thank you. Take care.
Yep.
Wait, can someone can you re-promote Eliana? And I don't see Patty. Patty isn't here. Does admin know she like want to give an update on her behalf, or?
I don't think I have any updates from Patty for tonight.
Okay, thank you. And next we'll move to Stephen. I know Stephen had to leave early, but he gave me some updates to talk on his behalf. He said the annual UCLA Alumni Board Retreat was the weekend of August 28th, with newly elected board members and representatives joining. UCLA Alumni is in the process of developing a new alumni engagement strategy / strategic plan, which was a major focus of our discussions during the retreat. At some point, it might make sense to seek suggestions from the council and the student body as a whole on how UCLA alumni can better serve a future alumni. I also went to that alumni board retreat on August 28th, and it was very interesting. So yeah, we need to find ways to kind of use the board for the benefit of the UCLA student body. And then the second thing was for the discussion of remote and hybrid meeting. He said he appreciate hybrid option as he's based in the Bay Area. It will also be helpful to bring outside presenters in the future. Okay. All right, moving forward. And then last but not least, Archie.
Good evening, everyone.
No, I don't have any reports today. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you guys. If you guys need any help or need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll provide you any assistance I can. You guys have a good night.
Theodore, you got a question?
I don't know if this is, I don't know if this could be for Archie or just anyone.
Sure, go ahead.
Does anyone know our main point of contact for the central ticket office or athletics? Because I have in mind some events that could really benefit the transfer student body, and I was wondering if you could hopefully point me in the right direction.
I don't know off the top of my head, Theodore, but I can research that, and I can get back with you and let you know tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, awesome. All right, moving forward, we don't have any old business for this meeting, but for new business, I guess this year's meetings, like how will we basically conduct them? So I guess like the discussion can be, this is going to be like an open discussion. We can kind of talk about whether we want to do it, fully online, hybrid, or just fully in person. Does anyone want to start with with their recommendations or what they would prefer and why?
Is it possible to do hybrid? Do you know?
So we've never really done hybrid in the space that we currently use for council meetings. So I would have to circle back with our events team and see what the technical capabilities are. The issue with doing hybrid is more so being able to talk and communicate between the in-person and the virtual participants. So in the past, we've always had USAC Live, which allows people to view and watch in, but they can't necessarily communicate back and forth. So that's the part that I'll have to double check because it'll require a lot more audio setup. Just to make sure that the sound quality is good and that the mics are picking up the audio, and that we have the speaker capability for those who are in the room to hear what folks are saying on the audio or on the live on the virtual option. But I can check. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention too, in terms of returning to in-person in any format, we do need a bit of time to coordinate like the layout and the setup of the room, and make sure that we have it in the event reservation, because the space, which is in Ackerman on A level, is not currently, it's not typically set up to accommodate the council meeting. We have to do a special setup for it. So the sooner we can kind of come to a consensus and decide on something, the better, because then we can go ahead and put those reservations in and make sure that we are prepared to flip that room for that purpose. But I will try to get an answer for you all on the hybrid question, and I can try to send an email out when I have an update from our events team.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it should be. I think it should be possible because last council we did I think we did 1 or 2 meetings hybrid towards the end of the year. And then Naomi.
Yeah, thanks. I would just say my preference would be remote. And that's only because I've been in a lot of hybrid meetings during the COVID-19 pandemic. And especially when it comes to dialogue, I feel like a lot of it is hindered for especially folks on Zoom. If we were to have it hybrid, I know we can try it, but it would just basically a lot of the times I feel like the people on Zoom get kind of tuned out of the conversation of what's involved. And I prefer remote just because since our meetings are kind of late and I'm a commuter, it kind of would be like just like a kind of hindrance on me to kind of have to drive back at like 9 p.m. at night back to West Hollywood. So that's just my preference. But yeah.
Milan.
Yeah, so I would like to just second like what Jessica and also what Naomi said. with like hybrid options. I talked, I think, to Chris a little bit before we left for like summer. And I know that like setting up, because I think the IEP is supposed to set up all of that AV equipment. But it seems like it's like a very, very kind of complicated process. So if we did want to go like hybrid, I think we should maybe move that option to maybe like the or spring, but also like to kind of and also with I forgot whose officer report, but we could have people who are maybe not in Los Angeles join. So maybe remote might be the best option just for accessibility during the fall quarter for council members. So that's my preference as well. I don't know if I cut out because it just said my internet is unstable, but yes. Okay.
Okay,
Where's
thank
Carl?
you.
I'm not sure. Okay, perfect.
Theodore?
Yes. For me, I think remote's fine. I've seen the only hybrid experience I have is with my local government here in Santa Ana, and there was a lot of technical difficulties, and I think Naomi is totally correct in regards to like having issues of like engaging with everyone involved, whether on Zoom or in person. So usually there's a group of people who are usually left behind. For me, as in my opinion, since I transferred in the heart of COVID, if we do go remote, I want to really implore everyone here to do their best to really have in-person office hours as much as they can, because there's nothing more like, I don't know, more, yeah, there's nothing more personal than actually meeting your own, or nothing, there's nothing as great and personal than meeting your own representative in their respective office. And I can't tell you how many answers that could have been, how many questions I've had that could have been answered in 2 minutes or 3 minutes in person, or just dropping by someone's office on campus that I had to wait 15 to 20 minutes plus on Zoom. And so I know Zoom is relatively accessible to everyone now, because you know, you don't necessarily have to be in the building. You could be commuting, you could be in a study hall, but there's been many times where I feel that there could have been questions answered in a short amount of time if someone would have been accessible in person, you know, walking back to the hill, walking back to your apartment, walking back to the row, whether you live on sorority or frat row, dropping by Kirkhoff, you know, okay, you know, Carl's there, Teddy's there, Juan's there. Let me just go ask him a quick question. And so that's just what I really implore, because I think we have to do a little bit of both. We can't just be too dependent upon remote. But for these meetings, definitely go with remote. I think it's the best fit.
Eliana?
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, yep, think remote would make sense. And I think that'll be good. And there can be plenty of we can arrange our gatherings and office hours and all sorts of things. So we should try and have remote options for those too, as well as in person. But I think for council meeting, that probably staying with remote for at least next several weeks, next quarter, should be accessible and smooth. Thanks, everyone.
Juan?
Yeah, my preference is remote, but I don't know how everyone's gonna vote if this is even a voting option. But if our consensus is to like do a hybrid option, a hybrid structure can be like doing one monthly in-person meeting to satisfy that like wanting to meet in person, but then having those 3 other meetings for the month be virtual, so we can like alternate. That can make things complicated, but I think would be less complicated than having a fully hybrid structure. And yeah.
Alicia?
Okay, I've been like texting in the chat, but I also just want to emphasize like I think that like now that we've gone remote from like past years not doing remote, and I feel like the system works really, really like best for everyone. Like if you look at it in terms of accessibility and especially with the timing of council meetings, I don't think there's a need to go back to in-person meetings. Because like it's just it's proven to like for example, like everybody mentioning like how hard it is to commute and like how hard it is to like go be physically in a space, especially like to transition back to that. It's just like I feel like that's unnecessary because Zoom works really well. But that's just my opinion.
Keon?
Yeah, so I think my opinion is that we should go back to in-person. I think the whole reason that we moved to an online format was for COVID-19, and now that that is not as big of an issue, we should be going back to how USAC was meant to be, how it was founded. I think that we are paid to do a position, and if that's a little uncomfortable, if that makes us travel more, then I think that's something that we have to do. I think the benefits of being in person and like seeing other members of council, being able to talk to people about other things, not just USAC, making those relationships that is a little harder on Zoom, is something that we have to think about and something that we need to gain from this, is something that I think I've really been losing out on. I think people coming and having opening comments would be more often. More people would like to come and see a real council speaking, and I think this would really help USAC work in a better way.
Alicia?
Respectfully, Keon, the way, quote unquote, that USAC was built, had incredibly ableist, racist, all of the isms you could think of, values, and structures in place. And prior to COVID, those were still very much intact. And the way COVID has affected students and has like brought up to the light these experiences that students have always had, not just because of the pandemic, we have seen that these more accessible options given to these conditions have benefited students, not just by protecting them from the virus that is still ongoing. Like the pandemic is still ongoing, and not just that, like these other like diseases, other flu, maybe people are hungover, like it's very much a bigger issue. And to say that like Zoom diminishes our jobs, Zoom diminishes like our work is not acceptable. Like that is not okay. That is very ableist, and that is diminishing like everything that we do just because it's remote. That is not okay to say. And that is very disrespectful to myself and the other officers here.
Daniela?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty fair for me to say, and obviously like just confirm that I agree with everything that Alicia has said. Just because not only do I think that it's disrespectful of the work of our fellow council members, we've been remote all summer, pretty much since the time that we started taking on these roles, which according to my officer reports has been 17 weeks now. And if your argument is to say that being remote diminishes the quality of your work, then I think that is a personal reflection that we each need to make. But it's not fair for any one person to solely make that reflection account for every person here. And I think that also extends to disrespect for the fellow council members who have been putting in work for the past few years since COVID-19 began. And again, it's still ongoing, in addition to monkeypox and the number of other diseases that we're probably going to face with the onset of fall and the winter. Additionally, I would like to also emphasize the point at which like the structure by which USAC was founded upon. Pretty much, I think Alicia described it in the best way that I think would have been able to do so. But the reason why we are sitting at this council table today virtually
with the people that we are is because people have gone out of their way to resist and to challenge the foundation upon which USAC was created to initially exist. I would not be sitting here on Zoom at my public library at 10, almost 9 p.m. in the midst of a heat wave, taking this call as a Latina woman who is also from a low-income background, if USAC were to persist working under the structure that it was designed to work in. So again, just feel very disrespected myself by the comments that were made, and in regards to just like speaking on behalf of other people and the reasons why they choose to operate in the ways that they do, and then making and drawing that conclusion about our comfort levels on our behalf. I think that honestly, I feel like that crosses a boundary. And if I would just have appreciated an approach to the discussion in a way where it would have engaged the reasons why I prefer or need access to remote accommodations during this time, again, as opposed to just making that conclusion and speaking on my behalf.
Sarah?
I just want to add my 2 cents this to our conversation. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable with coming into council meetings. I just think that I sort of liked Juan's idea way back when he suggested like a once a month in person, probably with a hybrid option. I just think that there are some communication, there's just some communication that is just done amongst us council members that is not conducted over Zoom, as seen by sort of just like for example, we haven't done good and welfare for the past like 3 meetings, which is fine. Like, honestly, it's really hard to do good and welfare after a long USAC meeting, and we had a lot of like people in Spain. But I think there's just some like team building or communication that happens in person, which is why I would offer like the once a month in council meetings. However, if a majority of council members are really uncomfortable with that, I understand. But I think just in terms of also just maybe providing a space for some UCLA students to come in person, talk to us, I think that would be important. But we can also just take it up to a vote.
All right, Theodore?
Yeah, okay, multiple things. First, I'm not necessarily against the, again, remote. For me, I just thought it was gonna be like the obvious one because I feel like most people were gonna go with the remote anyways. But I'm sorry for Juan, I didn't catch that you did make that recommendation that Sarah just mentioned, the once a month. I think once a month can be the solution. Again, I think, well, first, I want, in regards to Keon, I don't want there to be generalizations where Keon's words disrespects everyone on this body. Like, Keon, in my opinion, has every right to speak his mind. He was elected to do so. It's the whole point why this body is not unanimous, where we could speak our minds, we could vote the way we just enjoy to vote, or just have just an open, healthy discussion. And I don't think the correct option, I don't think his decision, his opinion is the correct option. I don't think it's feasible to go fully in person anymore. But I think he's still valid in sharing what he has to say. Also, in regards to like, I transferred during COVID, so everything has been Zoom. And so unless perhaps Carl could kind of give a little debrief, but like, how was USAC really founded on an ableist mentality or mindset? Like, is there just like, is the room that we host these meetings in have no ADA? Like, is there no ADA compliancy? Is there no opportunities for individuals to? Is there like, are the rooms too small? We can't house enough individuals. Is it just a location on campus? Like, what is it that's truly ableist that that USAC is true? Like, you know, what is the ableist issue of having in-person meetings other than, you know, individuals who commute, like what Naomi was saying, she commutes to West Hollywood or commuting to your apartment. I understand that that's the value of the remote, the commute, but like for those who live on campus or live near campus, like what is the ableist issue of in-person or even hybrid meetings? Because I just and this is just someone asking sincerely, because again, I transferred fall 2020. I do not know UCLA before fall 2020. It has been full Zoom. And so it's not just me being like cruel or mean or insensitive. This is actually open discussion we have to have. Like if Carl has been talking about the university is trying to go back to pre-COVID policy and culture, you know, and what does that look like? And how was that ableist? And I don't know, can Carl answer?
I thank you, Teddy. I know that was directed towards Carl, but Carl, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to respond to that. I know this is a learning opportunity. Having in-person meetings is ableist, specifically because we're still currently in an active pandemic and facing emerging public health threats like monkeypox. Not only that, we're in a heat wave. I mean, UCLA released recommendations that we work remote, that students are do remote school up until September 12th. So when we say like the USAC structure, the USAC meetings are kind of like founded on ableist, like on an ableist basis. It is because the space that we engage these meetings on, they're not accessible to everyone, not accessible to those who are immunocompromised because they fear for contracting COVID. It's also in a heat wave. If you're a commuter, if you're have to walk, I mean, like if you have to walk or take a bus, you're constantly engaging in barriers that put yourself, that put a person at risk for COVID or exacerbating their already poor living conditions. So that's when in-person is ableist or can be ableist, that's what we're kind of like denoting. And then as for the second part of like how we like the USAC structure, having our work be remote and specifically hybrid, with both in-person and hybrid. Those who attend meetings over Zoom, if we do a hybrid structure, like we have previously acknowledged, those voices get tuned out just simply by that structure of having in-person people dominate the conversation. And so those who attend virtually, even though they have space, we still have not fully mastered or achieved this equal balance of participation between in-person and people attending virtually. And yeah, I just want to reiterate what Daniela said in the chat. But thank you so much for those really important questions, Teddy.
Yeah, no problem. I just trying to fill in the gaps, and like I just, you know, I didn't know the institution, the group I joined was quote unquote ableist. I don't know if I was feeding into that or like if there's issues that still haven't been resolved. But thanks, Juan. I appreciate it.
All right, hey, we're gonna get back to you know, the people who got their hand raised, all right, so we can get this conversation over with. Naomi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say for like the conversation as a whole, I definitely think that it's good to bring up this questions and have like an open dialogue about this topic. But I just want to go back a little bit to what Keon said. It was very disrespectful to a lot of people in this room, especially like as throughout the summer, we've been having meetings. And as Keon said, like this is a paid position that we're being paid to do, but yet we have to be reminded by our previous FICOM chair, like, oh, attendance matters. And like some people in the room didn't have proxies, and some people are international, and some people that were international, like I was in Spain and Anna right now, like we still joined the meetings when it was 3 a.m. and we still made time to do our job and have been doing our job, and that's reflected in our officer reports as well. And so if some people can't even commit to showing up now, like, would making the meeting in person actually, would it make you actually do it? Like, I just want to make that perspective and bring that into the conversation, because as you said, like, we are elected to do this position. Like, you didn't have to sign up for this. Like, if you want to be in this room, especially making $10,000, if you want to be in this room, like, you signed up to do this. Like, I want you here, and I want everyone's voices to be heard, which is why I'm asking for a remote option, because I know in a hybrid space that would not happen. So that's all I wanted to say, but thank you.
Eliana.
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for speaking up and touching a bit more on Teddy's questions, which I appreciate. Honest questions are really how we move forward. So thanks for this. So in addition to the special immunocompromised students, which were already mentioned, getting around this campus can be almost impossible for people who need wheelchairs, have walking difficulties, low vision. There's Christopher O'Connor who had a great article on this, which I'll send over to everyone afterwards. So while everything ought to be ADA compliant, a lot of this campus is not, and I would definitely recommend to counsel people, if you're interested, to try and join the push on getting this campus to actually follow the law. So yeah, I just wanted to add that into this conversation. And thanks everybody for speaking up. Appreciate y'all.
Hanzika?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think I agree with everything that's been said before. But as an international student myself, like, we've been joining meetings the entire summer from a completely different time zone. And that has to be taken into account, even like mid-semester, in case someone has to ever urgently travel out. Like, there is always, you won't miss the meeting essentially if there is a remote option available. That being said, like, I understand Kian's point about us not being able to like form good relations that otherwise would come in within the council if we were going to meetings. So I think that can be handled like through another way. We could just do it at our own ends, or we could have like mixers, or just, we can cover that up. We could literally just go out to boba, that would satisfy it. But I think we cannot possibly go back to what it was like before COVID, just because we didn't even access like this remote option to the extent that we do today. And because we have this now, I think it's kind of made us realize that we have to go in this direction in the future. Because like, I agree with everyone who said that it's pretty ableist, and I mean, it's just more convenient for everybody overall. Like, till the time the pandemic is not like 100% eradicated, I don't think anyone has like the right to tell anyone that, oh, like, it doesn't matter, because it may not matter to you, but it may matter to someone else. And even if one person, I think, in the council has a problem with that, then we have to like respect them and just not take in-person meetings. And I think hybrid is off the table for this quarter. So we should definitely like look towards the remote option.
Phoebe?
Yeah, generally, I think we should just prioritize making sure that everyone is able to access these council meetings, whether or not they're a council member or a general student at UCLA, and make sure that every voice like within the council meeting has like equal weight based off of like whether, they're like online or not. So I agree with what people said earlier about how hybrid kind of does end up being kind of like a little push and pull between like multiple audiences, and that keeping it probably to remote, especially like incoming fall quarter, like would be good. I also wanted to note that I know like some people were mentioning concerns about like still wanting to have like the potential to connect with other council members in person. From what I've seen from our summer council meetings, and assuming that our fall council meetings will be largely the same as our summer council meetings in terms of discussion item, that like we've been working pretty effectively over the internet. I think it's safe to say that we will still continue working effectively remotely throughout the school year as well. But if people did want to meet and talk in person, and other folks were up for it and feeling safe about it, like we can all, whoever is interested in collaborating and discussing more, can like arrange other meetings with other council members, like off official council meeting, in person if they wanted to.
Theodore?
Yeah. It's this one's well, two things. Just it's towards Jessica the first. Jessica, you kind of talking about logistics earlier. If we did a hybrid, does there have to be like a minimal amount of elected officials that have to attend for us to actually do hybrid? So like, let's say if it was just me or and someone else or just three of us, would we not be able to do hybrid, or does it have to be pretty much the majority of us? And then secondly, do we have any numbers or polls from like the previous 2 years on any knowledge of actually how many students A, prefer online USAC meetings, or B, actually utilize the online USAC meetings versus if they were able to have them in a hybrid format, like if they're able to come in person? Like, have we actually polled the student body? Like, I don't mind any of us going online, but like, what if like the student body wants to come to us? And like, I'm not saying I'm not going to force any of you guys in the room because you guys aren't obligated to do that. But like, let's say if I have the opportunity to be in person at a meeting and they want to come talk to me or get to know me after the meeting in person, like, should I am I right to deny them that opportunity if they want to meet me in person, considering that majority of stuff is in person anyways on campus?
Yeah, so to your first question, Naomi mentioned it in the chat already, but basically you just have to make sure that you have quorum. So if you were doing a hybrid mode of meetings, then between those of you in person and those of you online, combined, you would need to have quorum. And you would just need to make sure that, the folks who are virtually participating are like being clear if they're stepping away from their computer or anything like that. This way, if there's a chance that you would possibly lose quorum, you would need to deal with that. But that's kind of the main thing. So in terms of the space that is we use for council meetings, there's no minimum or minimum number of people who would need to be there. We would just kind of have it set, and then whoever's there is there. And then, whether that's council or students attending in person to be at the meeting, or sometimes your student media folks will attend in person. So we don't really have a minimum, and it's like it's a flat rate fee to like set up, have the room reserved, set it up, do all the audio and video setups and all of that, and the labor and staffing. So it's going to be the same cost no matter what. And then to your other point, we've never done, like, I don't think ASUCLA has ever done any kind of like survey like that. So that would be up to you all if you wanted to kind of poll your student body and see, what they prefer. But I just, in my own experience of attending council meetings pre-COVID and now, at least with the virtual option for the summer, I've definitely seen more of an audience virtually than in person. And then, yeah, during the academic year, I mean, I think it kind of depends on what's on your agenda in terms of how many members of the student body will want to turn out for public comment and whatnot. But so far from seeing the Zoom meetings and the virtual meetings, it seems like there have been more students who have been able to attend virtually than in person. But I think that's a great idea if you want to, poll your student body to see what they prefer, or if they have strong opinions one way or another.
Eliana?
Thanks, everyone. So yeah, this one I recommend. I think this makes sense, doing a remote format, and then we can try and set up some of our gatherings and forums, both some in person, some hybrid, some online. So we can still get to hang out in person if we want to and talk to the students, but there's plenty of forums for that. Doesn't have to be happening during the USAC meetings.
Okay, awesome. All right. Yeah, thank you everyone for your input. Just wanted to, kind of get everyone's 2 cents and hear different points. I think we'll do like an offline vote. I'll probably put something in the Slack and just put a couple different options. I guess some points I just kind of wanted to bring up is obviously we want to kind of keep accessibility in mind, not only in regards to physical accessibility, but also we got to think of those individuals that may not have access to Wi-Fi or something like that. So keep that in mind as well. And also keep in mind that during the year, we'll be having these meetings every week. So it'll be like every Tuesday. And a lot of people have, well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but some of you missed a good, a good group of meetings over the summer. So let's make sure we're making those meetings regardless of whatever we choose. And also just going forward, if we can if we do choose to do the remote option, let's make sure that we have our cameras on and we're paying attention when individuals are, giving their speeches or whatever for appointments. Okay. So yeah, we'll do a vote offline. I think everyone got to say their 2 cents or whatever. But yeah, I think that's all we have. So I'll be adjourning this meeting at wait, we got one more question. Alicia.
Okay, thank you. It's gonna be really quick. I just want to emphasize just a little bit the way Eliana said remote. She's trying to do her job, and if doing her job could potentially put her in danger, and not just her, but like anyone, because we are also susceptible to the virus, that should be the end of the conversation. We should listen to her, and that's it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll be adjourning the meeting